Hey everyone, welcome to Current Surf News. I'm your host, Old Surf Dad, and with me as always is T-Bone. How you going, mate?
Morning, mate. Yeah, all good over here in the west. Yeah, love it, mate. Steaming into the festive season. Can't wait for
Nice,
it.
nice. T-Bone, we have a lot to cover today, and what I want to say is we're going to jam through some of these quickly, but we're counting on you in the comments section to continue the conversation because there's a couple controversial news items. But let's start with this one. The WSL has made the announcement that they're going to expand to 24 women surfers in 2026. T-Bone, what's your thoughts on that?
Mate, the tribe has spoken. The CEO, which we never see him, he's making moves behind the scenes. It's I mean, I'm happy. It's about time. It's about bloody time. I don't know why they're waiting till when is it, 2026?
Yeah,
But no, good news. It's an improvement. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of women out there really happy with that. But still, I still think there's a little bit more work to go.
I do too, and we're going to get into that work in a moment. What I wanted to do, let me share this tab right here. I wanted to look at the tour, and if you had 24, you would then be able to pick up some of this CS. I don't have the CS up here. You would be able
Don't
to pick
don't
up.
tell me Bronte would have qualified.
I think she would have just still been on the outside. Actually, maybe
Yeah,
she'll come out
okay.
of retirement, but I have the men's up here for a reason in the CT. But yeah, some of the surfers that missed the qualification, and those that we talked about, I want to pull them up, dude. I'm going to pull them up. Let's go rankings. Let's go to Challenger Series and Nadio Aristabe, who we talked about, Luana Silva, Yolanda Hopkins, and even down to I think Macy Callahan and Sophia Medina would have made the new round, would have made the 24. And
Mm.
I could be wrong because it depends on how they're going to introduce the CS into this and how they're going to qualify. So I probably named more people than probably would have made it.
I've
But
got
it gives you,
something. I've got something here I could quickly touch on, mate. I think it.
please.
So, just for the people out there who don't know, the Women's Championship Tour will expand from 17 surfers to 24. The new format will see the tour move to the top 14 instead of the top 10. So it says here 7 women will make the cut from the Challenger Series instead of five.
Ah, there we go. So that would have been Nadia Aristabe and Luana Silva. And I listed
Yeah.
about five of them. But you also have to leave in their room, T Bone, for, I think they say 24, but I think there's going to be a wild card in there or two.
Two.
I think they'd probably
Correct.
do two. Yeah. So
Correct,
one
mate.
would probably be a local or a trials winner, and then the other would be a shameless, whoever sponsoring the event, Rip Curl sponsored surfer or something along those lines. And they've
Yep.
made some bad choices, but they've also made some good choices. So we'll
Mm.
see how that breaks down. But what ideally would happen is those at the top of the CS would fill in those wild card spots. Or in the case of Vahine should be, in there like she was last year in Tahiti. But now that she's qualified, she doesn't have to worry about that. But T-Bone, what I find interesting is an article that came out, and that was our friend Mike Ciaramella. Michael Ciaramella, let me pull this thing up. Where is he? It's right here. Michael Ciaramella at Stab had this to say: the women's tour is 24. It's about time, and now they should do the same with the men's. And he's saying to cut the men's tour down. And there's a lot of
What's his
comments. One,
reasons why?
Well, a lot of reasons, and a lot of reasons I like. He starts out the article by saying, and again, it's Stab. This is Stab Premium. If you don't have Stab Premium, I think it's worth it. I think it's $75 a year. And later we're going to talk about an edit that John released. That's a premium subscriber type thing. It's a pretty great edit. But you get articles like this, and what he sets it up by saying, look, a few years ago they gave the women equal pay, and he said that has been a something that has paid dividends later, because now, and I think you'll agree, T-Bone, the women's tour is more exciting than it's ever been, and I would even say, in some cases, as exciting as the men's or more. What do you think?
It's, I mean, it's no doubt women have raised the bar, and they've made it that they've just built the fans, and yeah, I agree with you, mate. I will tune in to watch female surfing. I mean, it's so much more exciting. The talent has gone through the roof. They're surfing waves like Pipe, Tahiti. They're having a dig. Good on them. It's good that they, back in whenever it was, they made the prize money equal for the women, and I think they've really worked hard, and now they're expanding. So it's good news all around, and it's, hey, the bar's raised. We've been big advocates of women surfing, and I just think it's not going to stop. So
Yeah,
good
you and
shit,
I have
man.
backed
Like,
it, and we enjoy it. And I can tell you, Timon, in the past, just being part of the fantasy league and doing my fantasy videos, there used to be talk years ago of like, hey, get rid of the women's tour. We don't want to watch the women. I don't want women in fantasy. And now I think that is a fun part of the conversation, and it's integrated, I'm backing it. I enjoy the heck out of the women's surfing. On the CT level and on the CS as well. But on the CT level, dude, there's nothing better than you got Molly, Katie, and Betty Lou, let's say, that are new. Caroline there holding it down, and the Caroline Katie finals match was pretty epic. And now you have Aaron Brooks thrown into the mix. That's going to be a fascinating 2025. I cannot wait to watch the women surf next season.
it's getting more it's getting a lot more exciting, isn't it? And new talent coming in. And then you've got the existing girls on tour that are, the veterans. So I like when the new blood comes in, but when the new blood has a couple of years on tour, they really find their feet. So no, it's good, really good, really positive.
Yeah, and back to the men, why he wants 24, why he wants to cut it down to 24 is because, for one, it will decrease the time the contest, a number of heats is what I'm trying to say, and decrease the time that it takes to run the event. In other words, you have 10-day waiting period. They have a better chance of getting waves in 3 days, which is what it will probably take under a system that has 48. And if you remember, T-Bone, 24 is a really magic number. I think we use this in the cut. Let me pull this up. This is really cool. I pulled up the post-cut number. So here's Fiji, okay? You have 3 heats of 8. No, 8 heats of 3, pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
from there, what happens, you go through an elimination round. So the winner moves on, and then the 2 losers go to the elimination round, battle it out, and then make their way into the bracket stage, which goes straight into a round of 16. And there's one thing I love and hate is reselects. I'm ready to let that go. I love the format for fantasy. From a selfish standpoint, for fantasy, I like to just pick them, man. I like the way the events run in a post-cut heat structure. It's really good, and it's simple. So that's his other argument that Mike came up with.
You should be running
And
fantasy, mate. I agree with you
well,
totally.
I mean, it's Michael Chiaramella has just broke it down. Hold on, let me see. And then the other thing he talks about is that let me see something. Where is it? He brings up that these surfers, that those at the back end, he's pretty harsh on him. He says, "Hey, do you really care about those from 15 to 22 in those part of the rankings?" And that's where I'm mixed. And somebody in the comments brings up, I still like to watch Lobby and Matthew McGillivray battle it out in Tahiti because they both charge like crazy, just crazy reef break, gnarly tube pigs. And I still kind of want to see that. But at the same time, like, are any of these people that we're looking at here potentially going to be champions? Probably not. Are they going to make the final five? Maybe. And look who's in there. Cole Houseman, Connor O'Leary, yeah, at the top of that. I think Kanoa's days are behind him. I'm just going to say that out loud. Imai Kalani, Seth Moniz, Matthew McGillivray, Lobby maybe, Leonardo. Leonardo had a rough year. Do these guys, are they on the treadmill, the CSCT treadmill? And when you look at, I'm probably going to offend a few surfers out there. Let's look at this. Here's your top 20 in the men's. John, Elo, Griffin, Jack. These are the guys you want to watch surf. Crosby, Jake Marshall, Ramsey, Felipe, Joao. Surprising Felipe's ranked 13th. I don't know how they picked that when he missed the year. But anyway, there he is. Joao, Ryan Callanan, Baron Mamiya, and then you get into Cole Houseman. And then the rest of those, or actually Cole and down, will be, if it was 24, would be replaced by the new CT, and T-Bone, the other thing is you could potentially get rid of the cut. You could just run 48 the whole year. And somebody
end of the day, mate, what's the driving factor here? I mean, what's the driving factor to reduce the field so much? How far do we want to go here? Like, is it just to maximize a swell? Is it a financial move? Or, I mean, I got a question for you, mate. What other sports that have, how the men's and women's, there's different amount of numbers on the championship tour. How many other sports have men outweighing women in the amount of in their league? I mean, I think, to be honest, I don't agree with Mikey cutting the men. I still think men, and I'm just from a spectator point of view, I just think men, they're still, obviously, the women are not quite there yet. Some women are, but I think when the conditions are, 8 to 10 foot chopu, like really heavy conditions, the men are performing. I think a lot of people want to watch the men because they perform. I mean, it's like NBA. I hope this doesn't come across bad, but I'm sure a lot of people watch men play NBA and not women. Not saying that it's not good to watch and they're not getting better, but I just think you don't want to cut it back too much, even though the women's surfing is on the rise. I mean, I hope that's come across all right, but
no, that's a fair take. That's a great take, and I come across as woke, and you call me woke. I don't care. Put it in the comments, but I see your point, and I absolutely agree. And the WNBA, and that used to be a joke, and now there's some women in there that are making it exciting. I don't really watch basketball, but I have a feeling there's more NBA teams than WNBA teams. Somebody help me out if I'm wrong about that. And somebody remember, T-Bone, we got that comment a while back where a guy had said, hey, there's way more men surfing at your local beachy or at your local break than there are women, and that should be represented on the tour. And I thought about that, and I was like, God, that's a fair point. And he said, go the next day at time you surf. And the next day I went surfing, And there were 2 women out of the 10 that were at this beachy. I decided to go to the beachy. I usually don't even surf there. And I can tell you at the curmudgeon point that I wanted to surf that was just packed, there was no women out. But on the beachy, there were 2 women out of 10 of us. So I can see that take. I think, what is the goal? You asked, what is the goal? I think the goal is to make a comp more watchable. I think it is to not have all of the elimination rounds. And again, you in regular season pre-cut, you do hours and hours and 2 rounds of heats to eliminate 4 people. And some of that is good fun. Like, I like watching it, dude. I geek out harder than most people do. And I know you do too. And some of that's why I'm a little mixed on it. Some of that I like, but to be honest, I think I want it to be tighter. I like post-cut, and they've done that to me by presenting that program. And then to further cut it down to 24, I don't know. His article makes sense when I read it, and there are people that don't agree. And check this out. From one of your buddies there's three of them over there at the Barrel Podcast. We have the most famous member who I've collected into Current Surf Show named T-Bone. And then we've got Namu and Adzi. And either Namu or Adzi wrote this, and he said, 20 surfers
Namu would have wrote it.
Namu would have wrote this. 20 surfers on tour, men and women. 2 wild cards, 2 local wild cards, 2 sponsor wild cards, 2 local wild cards. 24 total field. And then he goes on to say the rounds, the quarters, the finals. And he said 15 heats comp done and no cut. And I think he's even taken it further than me, like really like distilling it down to a basic event. And I think this may be too much of a shock to the system for the WSL that we're used to. But I don't know. I don't even think the WSL doesn't seem to care that much about money, because they're adding to the tour. They're making better venues. But why not take advantage of those venues and get even better venues? And the real problem here is, T-Bone, is a freaking CS. The CS it's a shit tour right now. It really is.
Shit locations. The locations are garbage.
And if they could make that CS tour better locations, put Trestles in there, put I don't care, put Rio in there, as long as you have Haleiwa in there, and have the surfers qualify through that in better ways, we would all watch the CS even more than we do. And you and I, again, are exceptions.
Dude, this is a whole nother topic about the Challenger Series, the Challenger Tours.
It is.
And then what a struggle it is for some of those athletes to get on the CT, especially the guys that excel in the waves that are of high consequence. It's the most shittest locations, and they're paying 30, 40, 50 grand to travel to shitty beach breaks. Put them in good locations, at least half of them. I mean, the CT goes to Brazil, but at least it's got J-Bay, it's got Pipeline, bring back
We're going to
Hawaii.
we're going to go off into a whole nother topic I want to discuss in another show, but it's absolutely true. And you see QS with better surf, and it's frustrating. And you and I have talked about this offline, just between us being buds, talking about surfing. And that's where it needs to improve. So anyway, there's our thoughts on the CT and eliminating down to 24. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. I want to move on, T-Bone, to our next topic.
Let's go.
And our next topic is the Vans Pipe Masters for 2024. And the picture I have is from 20 years ago. That's Jamie O'Brien winning his Pipe Masters. And can you see the guys around him? Can you name those guys?
Yeah, so
it's probably hard to see.
It's Sonny Garcia, because I'm recording off my phone. Looks like Sonny Garcia. Is that Bruce?
It's Bruce, dude.
I can't see who's in the red, man.
The other one is Kalani Robb. It's probably hard to see him, but that's some pretty solid talent standing up there. And the reason Jamie is front and center is because he was snubbed. He was initially snubbed. Let me pull oh, shoot. Did I just delete it? Dang it. I think I just deleted it. Let me pull up I had the Vans list.
So this is the invitational that Vans have been putting on each year.
This is the invitational, and dang it, I had it and I just deleted it. I had the surfers' names.
What? So, who are on, mate? Who have been?
Yeah, who were selected. But let me ask you this, and while I'm looking for this, Jamie O'Brien was not. He was in an alternate list. Do you think he deserves to be on that list?
Mate, I mean, he cracked the shits, didn't he? He's one of the best to do it at pipe, no question.
I'm not hearing a yes or no.
No, I'm just trying to break it down because it's just turned into...
I know. I'm giving you shit.
It's just turned into a business, that what it used to be, 10, 20 years ago about being really core and rootsy. It's more the brand, promoting their sponsored surfers. So, hey, I'll say yes, of course. But I mean, if you look at the Hurley Pro, they invited who's the big wave guy from
Kai Lenny.
They invited Kai Lenny as a wild card, but on the flip side, I mean, there was other young up and coming surfers that who've been battling it out should have got a spot. So you could debate this in a lot of different scenarios, but I'll say yes, of course, he's the best to do it. But does he really need to prove himself out there? Everyone knows he's one of the best.
Is he the best to do it? Who is with him, like on that Mount Rushmore of pipeline? You're going to put Jerry, right? You're going to put Jerry first just because, there's all that 70s footage and lightning bolts, and he is a legend of pipeline, let's say. There's a lot of underground guys, but I think Jamie O'Brien is definitely in the conversation, and he has longevity there that you don't realize. That was 20 years ago, that picture, and he was surfing pipeline. He had mastered pipeline prior to that, and he mucks around in backdoor and gnarly backdoor and like sits on his butt and on a foamy and comes spraying out the other side. So I think he's mastered it. It's in his backyard or front yard or however you want to say it. And, his house is really right on the beach, T-Bone. I've been on the deck there, and it's like, it looks at pipe. And no wonder he's had that ability. So I think he's worthy, obviously. I think he's one of the best. I don't know. I want to hear in the comments who you would put as the top pipeline surfers ever. And I was just going to look through this list. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, if he removes his Red Bull logo from the nose of his board, he might be able to go in it.
I don't know how much that obviously has something to do with it. What's interesting here is Ivan and Nathan are on the list, and I don't know if they're still sponsored by Vans or if they've completely cut ties, and because I don't think Florence is making shoes per se, maybe those weird feet shoes things. But
I think Nathan is getting sponsored by Vans, mate.
Is he still
in the footwear? Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure.
Yeah, and so Ivan and Nathan are on the list, but John isn't, and John's definitely in that top tier of pipeline surfers. I mean, he grew up there. Another one of those kids that was surfing that at 10, and even younger. but truly giving it a crack at around 10. Um, some other, you notice on this list, T-Bone, more than half is Hawaiian, and I think that was by design. I think they wanted to have
Yeah.
more Hawaiians in it, and I think that's a good thing. The one that's
Hey, question.
controversial here, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is there many Hawaiians actually invited, like actually made the list? I mean, I haven't seen the full list, but I'm thinking
No, I'm
surely
looking
there's.
at the list is on screen right now.
Oh, so that's the
So
list. So there's a lot of there's a lot of Hawaiians on that list.
yeah, so the Australians, Russell Bierke, Harry Bryant, and Harry Bryant's an odd choice, but they wanted someone progressive, and he proved himself last year with one of the best barrels of the entire event. And
Yeah.
the other guy from the U.S., where is he? The kid from I think he's from New York, dude, and he puts in the time. It's Balaram
Is
Stack.
that yeah,
Yeah,
he's done a
Balaram
lot of
Stack
time
is
there.
just insane, and Tosh Tudor's on that list. They're just. I think what they tried to do too is change the direction of it by saying we want it to be a contest that also lets people creative and expression and do airs and all this stuff. And for those of us that are traditionalists like me and you, we want barrels. You know, pipeline is a barrel wave, and they're trying to turn it into a high performance wave. And I guess that's fair enough. It goes away from the roots, and therein lies a lot of the problems and the controversies. And I'm going to read an Instagram text here or an Instagram post in just a second. There was someone else on here, Sheriff Fall. He's from Senegal. I think he surfed in it last year, and he's an air guy, and I think he charges, or he wouldn't be on this list. And so it's an interesting group of people that they've selected, and it's far more controversial than the Eddie. When you pick the Eddie guys, I feel like guys and girls, that's a lot
It's
more
it's
clean cut.
predictable, don't you think? Do you think it's
Yeah,
predictable for Eddie?
the women's look pretty spot on. Mila Coco Brown's an interesting choice, but she does charge. So Aaron Brooks, Gabriella Bryan, um,
Where's
Puna
Patty?
DeSoto. Taddy is not there. That's a great one. Taddy should be on that list. God, agree with you. Moana Jones Wong is obviously there. Molly, Katie, and Betty Lou are there. Bella Kenworthy, odd choice. I would put Taddy in her place in a second. Sierra Kerr's there. And there's a couple Hawaiian girls I haven't heard of. But you're right. Coco Ho should be in there, and she is. So I think the women's list is pretty good, except for I think that's a snub of Taddy, to be honest, dude.
Hey, 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 mate. When I read um, Johnny, Jamie O'Brien's post, it sounded
Yeah, let's pull it
like
up.
well, it sounded like a ton of Hawaiians weren't invited. But tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a shit ton of Hawaiians that have been invited. It's just not him. Which maybe just
Yeah,
give some maybe they're just being a little bit alternative, just bringing in people that just to give them an opportunity on the big stage. Um, you know, Jamie's been front and center. Maybe just give a bit of young blood a crack from Hawaii.
and see that was where I was going with it too. Like to be controversial, is Jamie O'Brien still relevant? Yes, he's relevant in the sense he has a YouTube channel, but there's a lot of new up and coming kids that they want to mix into it. And I could see maybe it's not so much of a snub, but like what you said, he's obviously mastered it. Is it time for somebody else to have a crack? And his list, I want to shout out Josh Moniz for speaking up, but mention that people like Josh Kalani Chapman, he's an old school charger who's, that's
Yeah,
Al's nephew, I believe. Tyler Newton, Eli Olson's another one. That kid's been surfing there forever. Reef
yeah, he's
McIntosh
good.
too. Mickey Bruno. These are all guys, and Mark Healy. These are all guys that I used to shoot 20 years ago when I shot Pipeline and Sunset. And I don't know, are they trying to make it, fresh? Can I say that word? Or new talent? And is it sponsor Is it leaning the way of those sponsored by
Yeah,
Vans or make it more exciting? Of course.
100%. They're just trying to reach, they're just trying to reach to a real broader like a certain demographic, you could say. So they select their people not based on based on skill, but it's just I guess the generation that we're in, and who's going to be most appealing to people are going to go out there and buy a pair of Vans series. I know it seems
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean,
very business orientated. Hey, question for you though. These local Hawaiians, they can all still go in the trials for the CT, can't they? For the Pipe Masters.
I believe so. You know what?
Mm.
Now remember, this is totally separate from. I did see a WSL logo on that flyer, by the way, which is weird. Maybe it's not there now. But anyway, there's two separate events. The WSL event, January 27th, waiting period start, and the Vans, which starts December 8th through 20th, are completely separate, and this has no bearing. This is a Pipeline Masters was lost when they moved the waiting period, and this particular waiting period was bought up by Vans, and that's their event. It's no longer associated with the World Tour, for those of you wondering, and that's what we're talking about. But is there trials? I believe there would still be a trials. I think that's part of the deal, to let Hawaiians and locals have a crack at getting in. So there'll definitely be wild cards. I think we've had them in the past few years. I know we've had them in the past few years, but I would think they'd carry on that tradition. I want to read a couple comments here. Peter King talking about woke again. Wait, no, that's not the one. Idolo, check out Idolo. That's total disrespect toward one of the best guys to ever ride Pipeline, with all due respect to the other competitors. But JOB is a treat to serve Pipeline, even with 70 years old. I don't know if he's taking the piss or not, but does Idolo think that Jamie's 70 years old? You must think I'm 100. I don't know. I don't know if that was a mistake or a translation issue right there. But yeah, Jamie O'Brien's 41, so you guys know. And there's a couple other really great comments. Carissa, everybody's backing him here.
Of course they will. Yeah. Hey, what year
Yeah,
did he win that Pipe Masters? Because he
2020.
hasn't really.
No,
No, that was.
2004.
Yeah, I don't think he really has got a great contest record. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I think at Pipe he's done okay. I think, God, I don't have it in my head, but I want to say he's made a semis. I think he was in, because remember they used to do, there was four in the event, there were four people in the finals, like you see here. And then when they changed the format from the ASP to the WSL, it was a surfer on surfer, man on man heat. But I think too, last year or the year before, he was kind of just like fucking around, and he was riding a soft top, with all this camera equipment on him, and maybe they didn't like that either. But I think that made it even more entertaining. I mean, that's way more marketing they'd ever get on their own. He's probably got
Yeah.
more viewers on his videos than this whole event's going to get. So you're dumb
Yeah, well,
not
there
to
you
put
go.
him in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, I like, this is Josh Monize's, I'm not going to read his comment. He just talks about how the prestige of the event has been watered down, and Pipe used to mean something, and he's not super stoked about it. But his sister jumps in with, and this is Kiela Moniz, says, "I'm honestly shocked I didn't get an invite. I'm a world longboard women's champ, never surfed Pipe before, and ride single fins, but seems like I fit the criteria perfectly." What the fuck, Josh? Why aren't you adding me to this convo? So that's pretty funny, and they're just taking the piss, and yeah, so that's some good old fashioned controversy. about the Vans Pipe Masters. I just hope they get waves, T-Bone, because this event's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that John's name's not down here because,
Me
hey,
too.
I'd rather, I rather, I mean, hey, Job is next level, but I actually think John's better myself. But hey, what do I know? That
Yeah,
that could be
I
that
think
could be a comment.
that would be, yeah. What do you guys think? Who would you rather watch, Surf Pipeline, John Florence, or Jamie O'Brien? Let us know in the comments below. I think Jamie O'Brien's mastery of it is sometimes subtle. He's doing turns in the barrel and no hands and all these kinds of things. And and at the same time, John's gonna punt at the end, and that brings up his video, dude. Let's talk about this for 1 second. There's
Go,
a new
man.
video on Stab, and you haven't seen it yet. You need to go log in and check it out. It's called Here and There, and I would say that it gets you pumped for surfing. There's great music in it. A lot of it's clips, I think, that were B that didn't make the cut for some of his other movies. There's a few clips that are older, but it's all really great surfing. And the thing that really struck me is his brothers are in there and Eli Olsen's in there. And that group of guys, and especially the three brothers, I've never seen so much talent. I can't think of three brothers that have that much talent. And maybe the Malloys, but the Florence kids, every one of them are good in a different way, and it's
Yeah,
super fun to watch this video.
yeah. It's yeah. The three brothers are amazing, aren't they? You're right. I can't think of three brothers the level and just they're so good in their own way, aren't they? They've just got their own little subtleties that just make them such an insane surfer to watch.
Yeah, and Ivan's goofy foot, and he gets a really cool barrel in there. He's doing some no hand stuff. He's just a style master, man. And John's doing punts, and dude, when you watch it, you go, yeah, of course he's the world champion. It just solidifies, like, of course he should be the world champion. He surfs like that, and it really fires you up, and you see surfing at a level that, I mean, he's going to go in as the reigning world champ, and I think he deserves another one. Let's see how it goes. All respect to the Aussies, mate.
Oh, hey, I'm a big fan of John Florence. He's our adopted Aussie for sure when he comes to Margaret River. We love him over there. We love him here, definitely. Love to see him
Yeah,
win a world title.
he
John
could do it
before
again. We'll
Gabriel any
see.
day.
I
Hope
get
so,
all
man.
I get all fired up when I see his videos. That's where I'm at right now. Hey, the next item is, let's talk about another three-time world champion, Mick Fanning, dude. What happened here?
Mate, the legend, Mick Fanning, he got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Is this any
So,
old Hall of Fame? No, it's the Sports Australia with like cricketers, right? And footballers, and is that right?
yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah, it's any Hall of Fame. I think probably each country has their Hall of Fame, but he is definitely up there as one of the greatest athletes, sports persons that have come out of Australia, especially, I mean, obviously in his sport. So, and outside of the water, he's an absolute legend. He's done some great things. Um, yeah, he's always there to help the people. He's been involved in some flooding charity stuff. He's
Yeah.
a really good guy, Mick. In and out of the water, he's an absolute legend.
Top three. Does he make the top three or top five of all time Australian surfers? Wow, that's a tough one.
Ooh,
You
yeah.
got
I
to
mean,
put
being a
Mark
natural.
Richards in there.
Yeah, geez, it's
And
a hard one, isn't it?
and it depends if you want to talk competitive or not competitive. You got your Wayne Lynches and you got your midgets and you got your, who's the other hardcore underground guy I'm missing from Cronulla? You got Jim Banks. You got all these characters, dude. I'm not as good on the Aussie historical
You,
figures and surfers.
yeah, it's hard to group three together over the last 40, 50 years. You'd have to sort of put them in 10, 15 year or even 20 year generation, like little gaps. So yeah, mix up there, especially in his generation.
Of his
Yeah,
generation, I think he's probably the best surfer to come out of Australia. You guys tell us in the comments below who your top three Australian surfers of all time would be. That is a tough list to come up with. And now we didn't talk about this at all because I've watched it. I've watched parts of it. Is Dave Rostovich's new stab feature, and I haven't finished it yet, and I want to finish it before we talk about it next time. But I guess Dave Rostovich would be in there. His surfing is insane, and every one of us here in California are watching that, going, "God damn, they got good waves in Australia. What am I doing, wasting my life over here?"
yeah, it's probably over in the East Coast. It just looks so nice and warm water and offshore, and don't come to the west. It's always onshore.
No,
There's big sharks.
yeah, it's shithouse
So
there. But on the East Coast, where there's blue water, and he's surfing without a wetsuit, and he's ripping, and it's good every single day. Now I know that they waited or they went to certain beaches with offshore winds or whatever. But damn, it looks good, man. And you couldn't string together a video like that in California without waiting like a couple months, dude, because it
yeah,
looks so fun.
he's an interesting surfer to watch, isn't he? Always been pretty unique. Has his own little style and his own lines that he draws, and he's one of those guys that can ride a bloody door.
Yeah,
An ironing board. He just seems to make it work.
he's got some asymmetrical ironing boards in his quiver in that new stab feature. Check it out. Tell us what you guys think. Hey, the next news item is, and the reason I bring this one up, Cole Houseman leaves Vissla for a place I'd never heard of called Santos Studio. And I think there's this like clothing designer. It says, here's the headline: Streetwear meets surf as pro Cole Houseman partners with Santos Studio. And
Wow.
it's very interesting, like, and this kind of fits Cole's personality. And the reason I bring this up, and I think it's big, is you and I talked in the past few weeks about new sponsorship opportunities and breaking out away from your typical surf brands. And Cole has this deal for 2025, and I'm kind of stoked for him, and I'm kind of stoked for the industry that he's done this, and it matches him. I love that.
Dude, what is Santo? Is that a big brand? I've never heard of it.
I
Is it
hadn't heard
just
of it
a
either. I did a deep dive, and there's this designer named Bear or something in Southern California, and he's making this clothing for him.
okay?
I don't know much about it, but he's picking up Cole, and he's got a couple of other random people who are, in that fashion world for his collection. So it's it's
It's a,
it's an interesting detour.
it is, mate, because surfers are quite. They sort of stick to their brands, you know. I mean, it's an interesting one, repping an unknown street. What is it? Streetwear? Yeah,
Streetwear, dude. It's all the rage in
it's it.
the US, dude. You got to wear some cool street oversized shirts and shit like that. Not the kind of cool stuff you'll find at oldsurfdad.shop.
There we
Dude, I
go.
just wear regular old t-shirts, man. I wear jeans and t-shirts most of the time when I'm bumping
Yeah,
around, and a couple cool jackets go along with it. So,
same.
I mean, I keep it simple, but there's there's a part of society that, has great personal style, and my hat is off to them, and I love that he's repping this. I think it's kind of neat. And on the
Well,
next one,
he must have left it for money, right? Surely he
well,
must
I
have
think it
been.
would have been money. I think so, but I think it's also something that fits him. And Vissla might have been like picking up the contract for Ryan Callanan. Who knows? I don't know where Ryan's landed after leaving Billabong. But hey,
Mm.
speaking of leaving, Betty Lou leaves Slater Designs. And you may be going, hey, wait, I didn't even know she rode Slater designs. And to be honest, it kind of was under the radar for me. I wasn't paying attention to her boards because it's a pretty subtle thing. And I found this picture. You can see the Slater design logo there, but the main thing is she's got that stringer that gives it away. Have you ridden a Slater design?
Yes, I have. I had a sci-fi.
I did too.
It was a love-hate relationship.
Me too.
Certain waves went insane. Like I thought, wow, I'm Kelly. I'm surfing like Kelly.
Right.
And then other waves was the biggest dog. So it's a funny thing. When it clicked, it clicked. When it didn't, it felt terrible.
I found that the one I had the weird channel bottom thing. It was a thruster setup, and it had like the wings on it. I don't even know how to describe it. I think it was a batish tail thing. I think I'm describing it properly. This is a hazy memory. This is probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I was riding it in Huntington Beach, and the thing was squirrely as hell. But if I had my feet in the right place and I was in a decent bit of shape to get it into waves, that thing went off,
Yeah.
But what often happens is as it turns to winter and I go to Thanksgiving dinner and I start trying to ride that thing and I don't get up fast enough. And again, I'm older, you guys, give me a break. When I don't get up fast enough and don't speed down line and my foot's not in the right place, it was dog shit. And I ended up selling it and getting something more forgiving. But there were moments when I had the same experience you did. I was like, God damn, that thing just slices off turns and it's fast. Something happens, its thrust out of a bottom turn is extremely quick.
Yeah. Hey, do yourself a favor. Search for Stewie Kennedy surfing in one of the snapper contests. I think Stewie Kennedy was on the
I'm
was a
going to
wild
write this
card.
down.
He's riding a sci-fi, and I think the sales of sci-fi went through the roof. His surfing is insane.
Where was he surfing?
At Snapper. He was riding. I think when these boards first came out,
I think I remember this.
Riding them, and it was like, wow, what's under his feet? It was just electric. I think he got to the semis. I don't know if he was a wild card or on tour, but
I think I remember this because he tried to make a comeback, and he surfed lights out, and then he flamed out again. I think he lost after that, but.
Yeah, that sort of surfing at Snapper, geez, that's good. God, I'm stoked Snapper's back on the tour, and hopefully it's pumping for him. So good to watch.
Me too. Dude, we have just about hit an hour. We got to get out, dude. We usually try to hit and split in the surf news, but today there's a lot more to talk about with the Vans Pipe Masters and the women's CT being expanded. Tell us what you all think. I really appreciate the comments. Even if you want to put a little emoji in there, it helps the channel. Subscribe if you like talking about surf. And check out the Barreled Surf podcast that T-Bone's a part of over there in West Oz. T-Bone, thanks. It's good to see you, brother.
Thanks, dude. I guess today it was more of a 60-minute show than a...
It was, dude. We're trying to keep
60 minutes.
We're trying to keep it short, but we couldn't help ourselves today. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
You.
Yoo-hoo.